when she reported her uncle in a town that didn't believe girls, and the
must
vengeance
be
took 20
done.
years to arrive. She was 14 when she told the truth, and the whole town called her a liar. How far would you go to get justice? How many years would you wait? This is another true story account. We have changed places and characters' names to protect the people involved in this plot. This is the Power and Revenge channel, where justice is served in the end. Cherry Hill, Mississippi, wasn't on the map. A town of 1,200 souls, where everyone knew everyone else's father, where churches opened earlier than the post office, and where the sheriff was also a deacon. At 14, Clara May Ellison wore cotton dresses, rode her bike to school, and read To Kill a Mockingbird under the backyard tree. She had green eyes and a look that seemed too tired for her age. Uncle Walter Boone, her mother's older brother, was respected. An Iraq War veteran, owner of the hardware store, and a volunteer firefighter. Married to Edna, childless, a man of integrity, they said. But on the nights when her father traveled for work, Walter came to Clara's room. The first time she was 12. She didn't scream. She didn't move. She was paralyzed, as if her body had ceased to be her own. For 2 years, she endured it in silence. Until one autumn morning, she vomited on the kitchen floor. Her mother, Dorothy, thought it was the flu. Clara, gasping, whispered, "It's not the flu, Mom. It's just Uncle Walter. He comes to my room at night." Dorothy froze. "Don't say that. It's true. He is a good man, Clara. A man of God. You are confused. Or lying." Clara was taken to church. The pastor asked if she had been reading bad things, if she was jealous of Aunt Edna, if she watched forbidden movies. At school, the girls whispered. The boys laughed. The sheriff, Franklin, Walter's friend since childhood, called Clara in for a talk. He said, in a gentle voice, "Girls like you make these things up for attention. But here, in Cherry Hill, we protect our own." That night, Clara wrote in a notebook, "Nobody believes me, but I will remember. And one day, he will see me." Dorothy tore up the notebook the next day. And Walter kept coming. 2 years passed. Clara stopped talking. She stopped going to church. She stopped looking anyone in the eye. But she didn't stop planning. She worked part-time at the town diner. She saved every coin. She learned to sew at night with old Mrs. Jenkins, who gave her scraps and never asked questions. One March afternoon, Dorothy found birth control pills in Clara's mattress. "Are you sleeping with someone?" "With Uncle Walter. Every month. Since I was 12. Dorothy hit her daughter with a wooden spoon until she bled. "Stop lying. You are a disgrace." That night, Clara gathered what she had. A new notebook hidden in the barn. Walter's Bible, the one he read before coming to her room. $37 in crumpled coins and bills. A map of the interstate highway. She climbed out the window. She took her bicycle. She pedaled to the highway. A truck driver stopped. "Where are you headed, girl?" "Far away." "What's your name?" "My name doesn't matter." He took her to Memphis. She never went back. Memphis was not easy. Clara slept in shelters. She washed dishes. She was kicked out of 2 rooms for lacking documents. But she studied, night after night, at the public library. She earned a high school diploma at 20. She got into law school on a scholarship. She worked as a janitor at the courthouse to pay the bills. She graduated at 28. She specialized in criminal law and sexual assault crimes. She legally changed her name, Clara May Ellison's Claire Monroe. She never spoke of the past, but she kept the notebook. In the pages, she wrote, "Walter Boone, Cherry Hill, Mississippi. A crime. Continuous sexual abuse of a minor. Witnesses, Dorothy Boone, mother. Accomplice by omission. Community. Collective cover-up." One day, a female war veteran came to her office. She had been raped by her commander, but no one believed her. Claire represented her. She won the case. She sent the man to prison. Afterward, she cried in the bathroom for an hour. And then she went back to work. Cherry Hill hadn't changed. The same white houses. The same church. The same hardware store. Clara, now Claire Monroe, ESQ, entered the sheriff's office wearing high heels and carrying a leather briefcase. I want to adopt a child. The sheriff, now gray-haired, recognized her eyes. You are Dorothy's girl? I am. What are you doing here? My biological son, she said, lying in a firm voice, was left with the Boones when I was young. Now, I want to take him back. There was no child. But there was a plan. Walter, now 62, still lived with Edna. Dorothy had died of cancer. No one mentioned Clara. But when Claire showed up at the hardware store, Walter knocked over an entire shelf. You have no right. Oh, I do. And what's more, I am a lawyer. And I know laws you can't even imagine. She smiled and left. She knew he was afraid. Fear was the first step. Claire rented a house on the other side of town. She started going to church. She donated books to the library. She helped renovate the senior center. She's changed, they said. She grew up. She became someone. Walter watched from afar. He didn't speak, but he trembled when he saw her. Claire smiled at everyone. She hugged the ladies. She had picnics with the children. But at night, she read the files. Archived abuse cases in neighboring counties. State laws on statute of limitations. She knew the crime had no limitation period in cases involving minors. Walter's records, no complaints. No lawsuits. No scandals. The town protected him. Until now. The laundress's daughter, Lila, 13, stopped going to school. Claire went to the house. Lila was shaking, with bruises on her arms. Who is hurting you? My father. But you can't tell. He's the pastor of the second church. Claire didn't hesitate. She took Lila to the hospital. She recorded the testimony. She reported him. The town was divided. Claire is destroying families. She saved a girl. Walter attended the sermon and said, she came here to judge us. But who does she think she is? That night, Claire left an envelope on the church door. Inside, a copy of the first notebook. Walter's Bible, with page 23 marked, Thou that judgest another, condemneth thyself. A photo of herself at 14 with the caption, Do you remember me? People started gossiping. Remember Clara? The one who ran away? They say Walter abused her. Lies. He's a saint. Then why does he tremble when she walks by? Walter had a minor heart attack. Edna went to Claire. Why are you doing this? He's old. Just leave him alone. Because he never left me alone. No one believed you. But that was 20 years ago. And what did Lila do differently? She just had courage. Edna left, weeping. Days later, Walter came to Claire's office. I will kill you if you don't stop. She recorded everything and smiled. Try it. It will give me the trial I always wanted. Claire called a meeting at the city hall. Today, I am going to talk about my story. Whoever wants to listen, stay. Whoever doesn't will hear it anyway. Walter didn't go, but the entire town did. She spoke. Without yelling. Without crying. She just told the story. When I was 12, my uncle came to my room. My mother called me a liar. The church called me a sinner. The sheriff called me a problem. Silence. I don't want money. I don't want prison time. I want you to say my name. I want you to say, Clara Ellison was abused by Walter Boone. And I want you to believe it. No one spoke. But the next day, the pastor of the first church hugged Claire on the street. I am so sorry. It was the first. Walter tried to run. Claire had already alerted the state police. He was arrested, not for abuse. There was no physical evidence, but for making threats with intent to intimidate, the recording. But the true punishment was different. At church, no one shook his hand anymore. At the store, customers stopped coming. Even Edna moved to her sister's house. The town, which had protected him for 20 years, now shunned him. And Walter understood. Clara didn't want to destroy him. She wanted him to feel what she had felt, to be invisible. He had a second heart attack. He died alone in the hospital. The obituary read, Walter Boone, a man of faith and work. Claire tore up the newspaper and smiled. Claire returned to Memphis. Lila went to live with her. Today, at 18, she is studying psychology. One day, Lila asked, "Do you regret it? Leaving?" "No." "Coming back?" "Not that either." But it wasn't vengeance, Lila. It was testimony. Why? Because someone has to tell the truth so that other girls know they are not alone. That night, Claire opened the notebook again. On the last page, she wrote, "Cherry Hill still exists, but I am no longer the girl who lived there. I am the voice that returned and was not silenced." And she closed the notebook. Forever. I know this story. Not because I lived through a murder, but because I was once the woman who wasn't believed. The one who cried alone while everyone said, "You are exaggerating." The one who went silent because speaking out was more painful than keeping it in. If you have ever felt like your pain didn't matter, if you have ever been called exaggerated, paranoid, making things up, you are not alone. This story isn't just about betrayal. It's about courage. About a grandmother who chose to see, even when everyone wanted her to close her eyes. If this story touched you, leave an "I see you" in the comments. If someone needs to hear this today, share it. Because sometimes the truth doesn't need a judge. It just needs someone to see it. Subscribe. Turn on notifications. Because the next story might be yours.